Barry Ferguson has been speaking about Celtic again, and his words have some fans annoyed. We will go over what he said in today's video, whilst covering all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours.
But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content.
Chris Sutton has urged patience with new signing Michel-Ange Balikwisha, but admits he remains unconvinced by the winger's early Celtic performances. The Belgian arrived in the summer with big expectations, given Celtic had been chasing him for the best part of 18 months. However, his start in Glasgow has been subdued, with outings on both flanks at Ibrox and Rugby Park failing to spark much excitement. Sutton contrasted his quiet opening with Sebastian Tonekti's explosive debut against Kilmarnock, while also drawing a comparison to Nicholas Kuhn's slow start before finding his feet. Kuhn registered 3 goals and 3 assists in his first 6 months at Celtic, before he went on to put up impressive numbers last term with 21 goals and 15 assists across all competitions. While Tonekti made an explosive impact, it's fair to say it's been a more low-key start from the other winger who arrived in the summer, Sutton wrote in the Daily Record. Listen, it's only been 2 games, so I'm not going to write him off. Nicholas Kuhn didn't exactly get off to a flyer at Celtic, and look how he turned out. Balikwisha has a long way to go to get to that stage though, and I'm still struggling to see what his main attributes are. He doesn't look like he has blistering pace or is too willing to take on his man. I found that a bit strange in the Rangers game when he was up against 33-year-old James Tavernier, and there was a similar reluctance to do so on the other flank at Kilmarnock. He just seemed to want to play safe, going backwards rather than driving towards goal. While Sutton remains cautious, Balikwisha will have the chance to make his mark quickly, with Celtic facing a packed run of fixtures domestically and in Europe. The Belgian is still adapting to his new surroundings, but Sutton has made it clear he needs to show more if he is to justify the expectation that came with his arrival. Hopefully he does, and we see a good Celtic player. Celtic face Partick Thistle on Sunday. The game will kick off at 3:30 p.m. and will be live on Premier Sports. Now for the main story, as Barry Ferguson has responded to Brendan Rodgers' recent defence of Russell Martin after the Celtic boss questioned criticism coming from former Ibrox figures. Rodgers had suggested that ex-managers and coaches should show greater empathy, having experienced the same pressures themselves. Ferguson moved to clarify his stance on his media work, stressing that his analysis has been fair and constructive rather than personal. He insisted that criticism of Rangers' recent performances is unavoidable, but pointed out that his approach has always been balanced. Rodgers' comments were seen by many as a direct reference to Ferguson and others in the media who have questioned Martin's early results at Ibrox. The Celtic manager defended his counterpart, arguing that some of the scrutiny had crossed a moral line. In his reply, Ferguson maintained that any remarks from his former coaching staff had been aimed at performances rather than personalities. He also explained that, in his own experience as a manager, constructive criticism comes with the territory. He said, "Well, in terms of my staff on the media side, I've listened and I've watched, and everything they've said regarding Rangers' performances has been very constructive. I don't think at any point they've called for the manager to go. Their job is to analyse how Rangers have played in a game, and in my opinion they've done that in a very honest way. That's all I can say about it. I watched it and I didn't think it was personal. 100% not personal. You've got to be critical because Rangers aren't winning games of football. But it was very, I'll keep coming back to this word, very constructive. That's the way it should be. Me and Andy were speaking before we came on here. When I had a couple of bad results, I was criticised, but it was constructive criticism, and I have no problem with that. The only problem I have is when it becomes personal, and there's been nothing personal. If he's referring to my backroom team, there's been absolutely nothing personal whatsoever. I don't know why he needs to bring that up. He should be focusing on his club. There's some issues there." Ferguson's response does little to alter Rodgers' central point. The Celtic manager had not singled out individuals, but instead highlighted the broader issue of former managers piling pressure on those now in the job. By defending Martin, Rodgers showed solidarity with a fellow coach navigating a high-pressure environment. His criticism of ex-Ibrox figures continued the belief that those who have been in similar positions should know better than to inflame the situation. While Ferguson insists his remarks were purely constructive, Rodgers' words have placed a spotlight on the tone of punditry surrounding Rangers. In doing so, he reminded critics that empathy and context are as important as analysis. For Rodgers, the message was clear. Martin deserves space to work without the weight of unnecessary hostility from those who once stood in the same dugout. In other news, Celtic FC have posted record-breaking financial results, with Peter Lawwell confirming revenues of £143.6 million for the year ending June 2025. Profits after tax climbed to £33.9 million, more than double the £13.4 million reported a year earlier. The surge was driven by UEFA's new Champions League distribution model and £31.5 million in player trading gains. On top of that, Celtic broke their transfer record twice, spending a total of £42.6 million on new signings, the largest outlay in the club's history. On paper, it looks like a stunning year. Cash reserves remain steady at £77.3 million, while first-team wages have hit an all-time high. The club is presenting this as evidence of ambition to push beyond domestic dominance and make progress in Europe. Supporters, however, see things differently. The backdrop to these results has been dominated by frustration, with anger over a chaotic summer window, the Champions League exit to Kairat Almaty, and deep concerns about the recruitment strategy. Lawwell's statement concedes that the timing of some of the incoming acquisitions was an issue, but that feels like a light admission compared to what fans have watched unfold. Brendan Rodgers is working with a squad heavy on projects and players who aren't ready for first-team football, while glaring gaps went unaddressed until late in the window. This isn't new. Celtic have long been accused of hoarding cash, posting great figures, and yet still entering key fixtures underprepared. The chairman points to reinvestment and record spending, but for many supporters, the gap between the balance sheet and football reality has never felt wider. Yes, the financials are historic. Yes, spending has reached new levels, but the bigger question remains unanswered. Why does the Celtic setup continue to leave the manager short of what he needs? Until Celtic prove on the pitch that lessons have been learned, these words are likely to feel hollow. I am pleased to report on another successful year for Celtic Football Club, the club, both on and off the pitch. The year ended 30th of June 2025 saw the club continue our domestic success, coupled with a memorable European campaign and the delivery of a strong set of financial results. I congratulate Brendan, his backroom team, and all our players for a memorable season. Revenue increased to £143.6 million. 2024, £124.6 million, with the increase driven by a significant uplift in matchday income and UEFA rights distributions following a successful Champions League campaign.
What do you think of what we discussed in today's video? Let us know down in the comment section below. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.